we look at like Australia and other areas where dirt racing is a little more mainstream, they have a governmental body over the entire racing actions of the entire country in Australia. What is it, or is there a possibility to where some bigger investor, we were talking the other day about how, these purses for all year long really ain't that big when you compare it to the big business entities that are out here. I mean, a successful cup operation a year is $35 million. Do you think that there's possible or potential for some big investor to see this dirt track thing and try to come in and just swoop it all up, corporatize it? Roger Penske, somebody like that?
I guess in some aspects we've already seen that happen, but maybe not at that level because it hasn't been needed. I mean, usually they get associated with we get a lot of sponsors. Like Lucas Oil is an example of a large sponsor that got involved and got very involved, right? And to this day, they still are. We've had examples of our sport where that's happened in the past too. Stacker 2 is one. Mm-hmm. NOS is obviously one now. Major, larger brands and sponsors is what I would say. We just haven't kept a lot of them around. And I think that's because
of the relevance of the sport. We don't have no return investment for them.
Yeah, and I think it also is, we have a lot of hardcore racers, but we have less people in the sport that probably are qualified business-wise to be doing some of the things that we do. And that's not saying that everybody in our sport's that way. There's many great business people in our sport, many. But, you get that one that doesn't know what they're doing or how to do something involved with a corporate sponsor. And then now that sponsor goes away because of the risk associated with doing it. And versus, dealing with a cup team or a larger team. I mean, they've got account executives that are looking after that sponsor's well-being every minute of every day. And it's just a different dynamic. And I don't think it's going to be someone that comes in with a large sum of money and just take it all over. I mean, there's too many stubborn people in our world to probably even allow that to happen at all. But I do think our sport is progressively adding and getting more larger sponsors. So I do like that, and I see that trend. I mean, I have several corporate sponsors with the Dome, and that list continues to grow, and I see that across the industry too. So that is positive, and hopefully we can continue that trend and retain some of these larger sponsors, because if we do, then I think that's how the sport obviously gets healthier, more sustainable, and can be something for people to have their livelihood off of.
Right. I just think there's ways to do it outside of that. I think there's other avenues. I think the business model of racing operates like that. I think that one issue with racing is it's so heavily dependent on sponsorships that sponsors and corporations can control too many things. One of the benefits of back in the days of when races were $50,000 to win and cost of living was, new trucks were $5,000, was, you could win races and do whatever you want and pay for your race car and pay for everything. If you got a sponsor, it's because they wanted to get the exposure that you were getting. Or same thing for racetracks. You paid your purses and was able to pay well because of fan attendance and things like that. Sponsorships was kind of involved with you because of what you could reach. I feel like I said, with the relevance and the return on investments on sponsors, that a sponsorship in today's world doesn't really, especially in racing, doesn't come across as, they want to be involved with you because you're reaching people. They want to be involved with you because you will do what they may want, more. If they're not getting a return, and the operational sense is based on pleasing the sponsor's experience, then I just feel like the corporation has a little bit more power than it should at that point.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely exists. I will say that. I've dealt with sponsorship at a high level, and it's definitely an element that exists where they are very involved with decisions, and I can see where you're coming from with that for sure.
Right. Well, that's kind of why I think, relevance of the sport and things like that could help. Because if you had 60,000 people in that dome and they were paying a premium damn price, I mean, there's people paying $75 to park at an NFL game. If the sport was relevant, it was worth the price of admission. You could be telling the sponsors who you want instead of, reliant on a sponsor for an increase in pay or something like that. You could do it more self-sufficiently. Not necessarily pointing you out. I'm more so broadly speaking here, but that's kind of
Sure.
that's kind of where I would like to see the sport, and I think relevance is the one key piece missing that is potential for that to be a reality. I think if most people knew what this sport was, they would be dying to get a ticket to go see that dome.
Yeah, I do too, and hopefully, we can continue to create the storylines we have over the years, and hopefully, lightning will strike, and we'll be able to get that kind of attention that will allow 60,000 people to eventually be here. Obviously, that would do wonders for the event and for its future, and we'll see what this year brings and grow on, build off of that, and just keep the process going. And hopefully, like I said, hopefully we'll be able to pack it out one at a time.
This is how we ride. This is how we do. Riding mud, sliding up.